What is up, guys? TYSON DELACRUZ here. Thank you so much for rocking with me. Federal Reserve advisor arrested for leaking trade secrets to China. Shout out to everybody watching. Drop your comments down below. Smash the like button if you kindly would. Federal Reserve senior advisor John Harold Rogers from Virginia was detained on Tuesday on suspicion of plotting to steal trade secrets from the Federal Reserve for the People's Republic of China, according to this press release by the United States Attorney's Office. According to allegations, Roger, a senior advisor in the Fed International Finance Division from 2010 to 2021, so not that long ago, exchanged private information with Chinese co-conspirators who pretended to be graduate students who actually worked for Chinese intelligence and security apparatus. Wow. Okay. According to the allegations, Roger, a senior advisor for the Fed International Finance Division, we already read that. According to the accusations, he received almost $450,000 for working part-time as a Chinese, $450,000 for working part-time at the Chinese institution. He was also paid for flights, hotel meals. While in China, he was also given money for beach holiday or vacations, for those of you that are in the States. Max penalty for the counts of conspiring to commit economic espionage and making false statements for 15 years in jail and a fine up to $5 million. This comes right after the news, not necessarily right after the news, but there have been reports since 2023 that Chinese cyber army has invaded critical U.S. services, including power grids, ports, pipelines, and water utilities. A lot of you in the chat, a lot of you in the comment section have been saying, "Hey, Chinese have infiltrated a lot of these government entities and computers," i.e., on simplest terms, like platforms like TikTok. TikTok has a lot of data. It is a Chinese company. They have a lot of data on Americans. Now, this video right here, it explains a little bit on how they have potential control over power grids and water supply.
Post reveals hackers affiliated with China's People's Liberation Army have infiltrated critical services here in the U.S.
Alexandra Hoff joins us now from our nation's capital. Alex, this is not good.
No, it's not. I mean, this infiltration appears to be part of a broader effort to insert chaos into our logistical systems. The information collected could then be weaponized if the U.S. and China were to become engaged directly in the Pacific. According to reporting from the Washington Post citing multiple U.S. and industry security officials, China's cyber army is invading critical U.S. services, like an attempt to break into the system behind Texas's independent power grid. Other victims include a water utility in Hawaii, a West Coast port, and at least one oil and gas pipeline, according to that report you're seeing there. Brandon Wells, the executive director of the Department of Homeland Security Cybersecurity Agency, told the Washington Post this, quote, "It is very clear that Chinese attempts to compromise critical infrastructure are in part to pre-position themselves to be able to disrupt or destroy that critical infrastructure in the event of a conflict, to either prevent the United States from being able to project power into Asia or to cause societal chaos inside the United States to affect our decision-making around a crisis." The report notes that over the past year, hackers affiliated with the People's Liberation Army in China have accessed the computer systems of about 24 critical entities.
Now, that particular report, that damning report, occurred back in 2023. There have been more recent situations with Chinese hackers breaching into systems. Chinese hackers breach into U.S. government offices and that access foreign investments for national security risks. This article comes from CNN. CNN states Chinese hackers have breached U.S. government offices that review foreign investments. The theft, which was not previously been reported, underscores Beijing's keen interest in spying on U.S. government offices that has broad power to block Chinese investments in the U.S. as treason between the two world superpowers remain high. The breach was part of a broader situation by hackers into the Treasury Department of Unclassified Systems. The office targeted by the hackers the Committee on Foreign Investments in the United States. In December, gained greater authority and scrutinized real estate sales near U.S. military bases. U.S. lawmakers and national security offices have grown increasingly worried about that the Chinese government or its proxies could use land acquisitions to spy on these bases. January 16th this year, 2025, the U.S. Treasury was breached by Chinese hackers, which infiltrated computers of Secretary Janet Yellen and two of her lieutenants.
Breaking just moments before our show, Bloomberg reporting that Chinese hackers have infiltrated the computers of the U.S. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen and two of her lieutenants, quote, as part of a broader breach of the agency. Joining me now.
Now, can Chinese hackers cripple critical U.S. infrastructure? Now, this was posted on January 21st. Mind you, at the time of this recording, it is January 30th, 2025.
The ability to shut down dozens of U.S. Chinese hackers have gained the ability to shut down dozens of U.S. ports, power grids, and other infrastructure targets at will, adding the attack could threaten lives. Now, what is the likelihood that the Chinese hackers have the ability to do that?
100%. Like I said, they've been doing this for years. They've perfected their craft. Before, they were kind of just clumsy inside the networks. Now they're kind of experts in our networks. And on top of that, our networks are very complex. They're very human-driven. And there are a lot of holes within our networks, the hardware, the software, and so on. The biggest thing is the patches. When we find vulnerabilities, companies are always way behind on installing the patches. And that's usually how the CCP and the Russians, North Koreans, Iranians get into our networks, is through known vulnerabilities that are not patched.
I'd like to know your guys' thoughts on this situation. They have been infiltrating networks and technology in the United States for years. But most recently, it has become more open and talked about, specifically coming around with that application, that social media application, TikTok. Treasury advisors admit high-ranking members were hired because of DEI. Treasury Department was just infiltrated by Chinese hackers. I'd like to know your guys' thoughts on this. If they've been doing the business for a long time, and then this damning report comes out with this individual who has been working with China, presumably, and worked for the Federal Reserve, there are more snakes in the grass than we know. Let me know what you think. Drop your comments down below. Smash the like button, share, subscribe. And as always, guys, I'll catch you on the next one.